Howdy kids! Today we're going to be learning about Darwin and Darwinism and Social Darwinism and practically everything you need to know to get that A in science class. We start on December 27th, 1831. A 22-year-old Charles Darwin boards the HMS Beagle on a voyage to write stuff. His voyage took him nearly 5 years to finish and saw him sailing around the world to places like, read it with me, Darwin traveled across the Atlantic to South America, mapping out its coast and exploring its interior, then crossing the Pacific to the Galapagos. Remember that one? That one's important. New Zealand and Australia before completing the circumnavigation of the globe back to England. Did you get all that? Good, because you don't really need it. During his most important voyages to South America and the Galapagos, Darwin studied things like rocks and geodes. But he also studied things like finches and tortoises and cool fossils. This is where he would develop his theory of adaptation, or any inherited physical or behavioral trait that has developed through natural selection to improve an organism's ability to survive and reproduce in its environment. Darwin's crazy crackpot theory was called natural selection, which meant the fittest survived and the traits of those who made it get passed down. If you still don't get it, imagine if Muhammad Ali got into the ring with a 3-pound baby. Who do you think would win? Well, the baby would probably get knocked out pretty quick, because babies are dumb and weak. This will lead to Muhammad Ali surviving and passing down his genes and having more children that are fit enough to survive. Okay, we understand that. Now, what is Darwinism? Well, that's a boring question because we just talked about it. So let's spice things up a bit. What's Social Darwinism? Painting by Nancy Rorick, by the way, you should check her out, really good painter. Social Darwinism emerged in the late 19th century, gaining significance after Darwin published On the Origins of Species in 1859, and the term Social Darwinism was coined in Europe in the 1870s. Social Darwinism is what the name basically implies, taking the ideals of Darwinism, adaptation and natural selection, and mixing it with social norms and how society works. This suggested that societal success is a measure of inherited fitness, with the rich and wealthy naturally superior and the poor brokies like you and me naturally inferior. Sociologists ultimately rejected the idea of social Darwinism, though, as it was significantly and scientifically and morally flawed, as society used it to justify prejudice against minorities and Hitler used it to justify his slaughter and racial hierarchy. It also led to a lack of cooperation. And so, society rejected social Darwinism and nothing was ever bad ever again. I was going to include a section in this video where I would talk about what happened after Darwin came back and his voyage and published his findings, and go more into him as a person. But this video is already too long, so let me know if you want to see a separate video or short on him. And let me know what you learned from this video in the comments, kids. And remember, keep learning.